ready. We're just waiting for our little panelists to show up. Thanks so much for coming. I'm excited to facilitate this conversation and have some good conversations. Sorry, we're having some technical difficulties. Give us a second. There we go. Hi, Marianne.
Hi.
How are you today?
I'm super good. I'm really
So
tired though.
I know it's a Thursday. We're so ready for the weekend at this point, but we got this. Okay. Looks like Jen might be having some issues, but we can probably just kind of start talking about what this conversation is going to be about before we can get Jennifer in. Give me 1 second. Okay, so today's live, as you guys have pretty much seen, is hi Jen, how are you?
Good, how are you? Sorry.
You're all good. Alrighty, but as I was saying, today's event, this conversation is all about what else can Latinas do. You know, we're going to focus in on what our struggles as first-gen Latina students have been, kind of how that has impacted our educational journey, our mental health, all of that. It is Mental Health Awareness Month, so we're taking the time to talk about some of these topics and bring light some of these discussions, just in case people don't really know what's happening. So we're going to start with some quick introductions. Who is everybody? You know why we're here. I'll begin. I'm Lupe. I will be facilitating this conversation. I am a rising senior at Northern Arizona University. I am a first-gen Latina student as well as the oldest sibling, so that's a lot of things stacked upon each other. But yeah, that's a little bit about me. Marianne, would you go ahead and go next?
My name is Marianne. I am currently a senior at Broad Science High School, but I'm about to go to ASU next year for school. I am the only daughter my parents have, and I have just one older brother. That's basically all.
Awesome, Jen.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny, or Jennifer. I am a senior at Grand Canyon, and I am the oldest of two. I just have one younger brother, and that's it.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. So now that we kind of know who everybody is, I have one quick question before we begin. It's not that, deep yet, but as I had previously stated, the title of this panel is What Else Can Latinas Do? The Latina Expectation. And if y'all haven't noticed our previous events and our future events for this month, they're all kind of a play on Encanto songs. So have you two watched Encanto yet? And what's your opinions on it?
Duh. I've watched it 5 times.
I've seen it bits and pieces. It was during finals that I watched it a lot. It was during finals, and I wasn't. So I'm gonna say no. I've only seen a little bit. I know some songs, but no.
You have to get on that. That's gonna be your summer homework, watching the movie. Yeah, I've also watched it a million times. It's so good. It was a comfort movie during finals week for me. So yeah, just keep an eye out on those names, kind of see what you guys think. How did we do on those play on words? So yeah, now that we got that little question out of the way, let's get into the true conversation, the bones of this discussion. We're going to get into some questions. If any of you feel uncomfortable responding to them, let me know. We'll skip them over. No issues with that. But our first question is, what has your journey as a first generation Latina student been like? And has being a woman affected you personally? And can you kind of just elaborate on that?
Okay. So at least for me, my journey is barely starting. I'm just going into university. It has been hard though because my parents did not have the luxury of even going to high school. So during high school, like they couldn't really help me, and my brother was just when I was a freshman in high school, my brother was a freshman in university, so he was like dealing with his own stuff. So when I needed help in like schoolwork or anything, especially math class, they just had no idea what I was talking about, and then my brother was off, so he also couldn't help me. So during high school, it was hard getting those like parents to help you because like sometimes in like movies, you see them like, oh yeah, like this is super easy, like I studied this, but like my parents would have no idea what I was talking about. So then I would have to like either, look it up on Khan Academy. Khan Academy. I would do Khan Academy. Um, Especially now, just like applying for um, scholarships because when my brother went into university, um, we were at like different financial circumstances where he got everything paid by ASU. But now, since my parents, it's bittersweet. My parents got the residency, so obviously he's getting paid what he deserves now. Um, but he's earning a lot more than he used to. So now our EFC not good. So just like finding a whole bunch of just like scholarships that my brother didn't have to go through, but I did is also really hard because I was basically doing it alone. But I had teachers and I had programs like STEP, which is just kind of like a college readiness program. Like those also really helped me a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Maria and Jenny.
Do you mind repeating the question?
Yeah, no, it's just, how has being, a first gen Latina woman in, university, how has that kind of been? Some of like your struggles, how has that affected you as a student?
Yeah, so after high school, I graduated in 2017. I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do, and also I wanted to save some money. So I went to a community college, and I'm very thankful I went there because there's such a huge stigma on that. And even there, though, I struggled so much. I was going to the financial aid office and like asking them for help on FAFSA. I mean, in California, they have the Board of Governors waive, like all these things that I thought you just go to college, you just pay with a debit card, that was it. And then I like found out about scholarships in college. Like I didn't really realize help or anything like that in high school. But it's been challenging. I mean, thankfully I've had like resources to reach out and ask like, hey, what scholarships can I apply to? Because people don't realize that there's literally scholarships for everything. Like, literally being Latina, wanting to be a teacher, wanting to be a doctor, anything. And yeah, I gotta say though, like currently right now, I'm very thankful for everything that I've gone through because I can now help others. But definitely being a Latina at GCU, I wish there was more Latinas. I think there is a little bit of lack of a diversity right there. But other than that, I mean, I'm just very thankful that I'm able to go to college. So
Absolutely. Yeah, I completely, agree and feel for both of you because I've had similar experiences, similarly to Marianne. Both my parents only received a third grade education, so they've pretty much been in the dark about all of this. So I've had to like figure it out and make sure I learn to then pass down some of this knowledge to my sister when she moves on too. But I think Jenny brought up a really good point about the need for diversity too, to feel connected and feel better when you're in college because it's hard to find people in similar circumstances, and a lot of the times that support is super valuable, especially when looking at issues within like mental health. So kind of going off that question, have you as a woman felt that there's some obstacles or struggles that you've had to face that your male relatives or male peers haven't necessarily have to like gone through yet?
I think I definitely have. I think Just like, I don't know, the overprotectiveness is a big deal. At least for me, because when I was first starting out to go with guys, like they would, like my dad would be like, no way. But then like my brother at that time was like, yeah, yeah, let him go, like get him a girlfriend. But like me, he's like, no. So then I had to like sit down with them. The good thing about them is like my parents are super open, and since I am more like my brother's really quiet and goes with the flow, but I'm like, hold up, that's not okay. So I like sat down with them and I explained to them how I felt and why that wasn't okay, and then they like slowly started getting, I guess, giving me more trust. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so now I like have a boyfriend. He comes over when he wants to. Um, but yeah, I think definitely that was the biggest part. Just like seeing the inequalities and how they treated us, and then like also just having my brother back me up because he also saw the disproportionalities, and like he could go out, I couldn't, and like
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a whole bunch of clubs. I was doing Aliento at that time because it was like at the beginning of this year, and like uh, he was like, yeah, like she's definitely doing a lot more when I was in high school, and like she should be getting all of these things. So having him back me up was also a really great feeling.
That's awesome to hear that you had that support from your brother. Jenny?
Lupe, I'm so sorry. Do you mind just repeating or doing a little recap right after Maria?
Yeah, no problem. No, I just asked if there's any problems or obstacles that you as a woman feel that your male like counterparts or family members haven't had to go through yet.
I feel like in society and also in like la cultura mexicana, well, for me, like in the Mexican like culture, I think there's like a little bit of a like I don't know how to like explain it clearly, but like the man is like always like here, like, but education wise, it's, I don't know, it's very much stigmatized. I think in college, I see more praise on men like doing things. In my opinion, everyone has a different outlook on that. But I mean, especially what Mariana was saying, I think I think growing up, I just was always told to go on an easier path or do something way easier for me because I deserve to just, I'm a woman, so I deserve to do it like simple, not hard. But I mean, I'm going into teaching, but also I want to go into medical school one day. So it's like there's a little stigma on that women aren't able to do, or like Latinas in particular, like, oh, we're beauty, we're this and that. We should just stick to doing simple things. It's like, no, everything's hard. Everything's hard. Every major is hard. Every, like, if you want to go into business and you want to do something else, go for it. I feel like everyone just sees like different people, like women or like Latinas, as like, go the easy route, you're beautiful, you get what you want. It's like, no, it's not like that. In society, you have to work for what you want. And I feel like being a Latina, you have to work harder for what you want, for people to give you respect. Being a woman as well. Like there's so many obstacles in that. But yeah, I could go on about that. But I just feel like as a Latina, you just have to work 10 times harder to put a name on like paper and like be represented by that, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Like you hit the mark on that one. I think it is really important to realize that kind of discrepancy in the way that women are praised for their achievements, where, like you said, we sometimes feel like we have to do so much more to get like the bare minimum back. And it's not like we're going around seeking people's approval or praise by no means, but it's also like not good to see your peers who are doing, the same work as you are trying just as hard, or maybe you've done a little bit more, but you're kind of not receiving that kind of support back. Like that could have a large effect on the way that you view yourself. And going back to mental health, then that's where you start to raise kind of issues with self-esteem and confidence, and whether you feel like you're good enough to be doing what you're doing, when in reality we are just as capable, if not more, in a lot of these different fields. And what you put into it is what you get out. And I think that's the most important thing to remember when it comes to this conversation. But now, moving forward to our next question, I'm going to direct this one solely to Mariam. But how has being a child of immigrants affected you? Do you sometimes feel like, the dreams and hopes of your parents have guided you? How has that impacted your educational career, your life just as a person?
I think definitely. I think just like there's a whole bunch of pressure because they came to this country for like me and my brother. That's why, to give us a better life because when they were living in Mexico, it's not the greatest situation. There was like drugs, they're in gangs, like all around them. And then so they came to the United States for us. So then just like not going to college or pursuing education would be like, I don't know, it would feel like it'd be such a disrespect to all their hard work that they've done. It's kind of like a given. Like it's not a question anymore. If you want to go, it's like when and then what are you going to study? So there's definitely like a lot of pressure with that because like I knew like in sixth grade that like going to college was not an option. Like not going to college was not an option. I had to go. Um, so definitely a lot of pressure in that, especially just like always worrying about my grades, um, making sure they were good enough to get in, um, not really going out as much because of my grades because I didn't want them to tank. Um, but I've learned that like yeah, I like obviously it's good, but it's not the end of the world if you don't go to like Harvard. I mean, it's really good if you do, but if you don't, that's also good. And then also like again, I've also been having a lot of conversations with my parents more recently about like the pressure and like all of that. And like I said before, they're really understanding and they like sit down with me and they if they don't understand, they ask me to explain it again and then I explain it again. Um, and then also just like at the beginning when I was younger, it felt more like they're trying to hide that part away just because they've experienced a lot of racism when they came here. Like neighbors down the street would just like randomly yell like slurs at them for no reason when they were like taking a walk down the neighborhood. So like they never really said like hide that you're Mexican, but it was kind of like a giving thing where like at stores, like I would talk to them in English. At doctor's appointments, I would talk to them. I would fill out the forms, like a 7-year old, like filling out the forms because my parents like didn't really want to talk and they didn't want to get like profiled, get told to go back to their country because that's things that happen here. And I actually remember this one time where we were out in Knott's Berry Farm in California, and like I don't know what happened, but like my parents, I think that was like the biggest part that I remember. Like my parents actually stood up for themselves when somebody said something to them, and that I was kind of like, yeah, like you go, like why are you gonna let them talk to you like that? Um, but then like afterwards, I just saw them kind of like be like, okay, we're not really like if we do and if we don't hide, like oh, she left.
I think she was having internet issues. Go
If
on.
we do and if we don't like hide, things are still gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of just saw that they started to like not really care anymore. As well as like especially after my parents got their residency, like my dad started like demanding what he needed to get paid for his job because he knew like oh, so much. Okay, so basically, um, he was getting paid. He's a construction worker, like the machine operators, and those are supposed to get paid a lot. And he was getting paid like dirt poor because his boss knew that he was undocumented and he wouldn't get another job anywhere else. So he kind of used that against him. And but right when he got his residency, my dad was like, "I'm quitting." Like he had like 20 years of seniority in the company, and he was like, "I'm quitting if you don't give me like the money that I deserve." And at first, his boss was like, "Hell no! Like, who needs you?" But then like a day later, he was like, "You know what? We do need you." So then he got paid what he deserved, and then that kind of gave him the confidence. Because at the beginning, he was asking for like a $5 raise when he would should be getting like a $10 raise. Um, so then that gave him more confidence to like actually start demanding what he needed, and he's now getting it because they know that like he's even getting job offers from other people. So his bosses knew that what he did was really good work. They just weren't willing to pay for it because they knew that before he was undocumented, but now he's not. So now he's able to stand up for himself.
That's, thank you so much for opening up and like sharing that story with us. I think, yeah, it is important to see kind of the difficulties that come from, being a child of immigrants. And sometimes, feeling less than adequate and trying to figure out, how to feel empowered, how to use kind of your differences to, make you stronger. Hi, welcome back, Jenny.
I'm so I just got kicked out. I'm sorry.
You are good. Don't even worry about it. So now that you're back, we're going to just segue into kind of our last question. It kind of all goes together. So, but how has all of these experiences, all of these obstacles, how has it impacted your mental health? But have you felt supported through whether that be friends, family, your institution that you attend to, or like what do you do yourself for self-care? What do you do to help yourself out when you're feeling a little low? Like what are those kind of things?
Do you want me to start?
Go for it, yeah.
Okay, so definitely was not an easy ride. Mental health, it was something that I literally found out about when I was 17, having my first ever anxiety attack. Growing up, mental health was not even talked about. I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't know what depression, anything. So that one day that I got that anxiety attack, I went to the ER, typical story. And that's when I was like, oh, do you take like medication? Like, does it go away? And they were like, no. So literally just wanted to say that part about me. I didn't know much about mental health, and throughout my journey with self-care, definitely was up and down. It was no perfect way. I was very much disgusted with how I was feeling because I thought I was the only one feeling that way, and that's not the case. If anyone is dealing with mental health issues right now, you're not alone in any way. I'm such a huge advocate for therapy. That's what works for me. It's not a one way for everyone, unfortunately. But I went to therapy when I first got into college, hated it, lied every meeting. Like, I kid you not, I was lying to my therapist because I just felt like maybe if I mask these emotions and say that I'm going to therapy, it will be useful, but did not work out. Up until I was 20 is when I actually was being honest with myself, being vulnerable. Vulnerability is so scary, and that's when I finally opened up to my mom and dad, and they've been very supportive. My parents have grown to educate themselves on that because they didn't grow up with that. They didn't grow up with being able to like talk about these emotions. It was more like held in. So that was honestly something that was beneficial for all of us to learn. I can say that I feel helped or supported by institutions somewhat. I mean, the resources are there. I had an amazing therapist at GCU. He helped me so much, but I think that there is still a lack of awareness with resources. Like, I know that they say like, oh, here's a therapist, go, but it's like the anticipation part. I don't know, as someone who used to hate therapy, I wish like seeing other ways of encouraging therapy, not just being like, well, if you're sad, go. It's like, no, you should go either way. So, moral of the story, it's been a journey finding support and finding my area of self-care. I like do therapy. I go to the gym, work out. I mean, I post these videos on like social media, but I've had to learn. And I'm only 22. And I mean, Marianne, I don't know. How old are you, Marianne?
I'm 18.
Yeah, like literally, like when I was 18, I didn't know nothing about self-care. I thought self-care was like sleep or watching TV, which is not the case. But I've learned, and I'm very thankful that I have my area of expertise in some way. I'm not an expert at it, but in my personal life, like I know what to do if I need help or like who to reach out to. And I have amazing friends and family who I feel supported, and also like at Aliento, everyone literally, like I feel like if I messaged one of y'all would be like, hey, what's up? Like Patino or like Reina, Diego, like anyone. So yeah.
Thank you, Jenny.
I think for me, kind of what Jenny was saying, like my parents, I'm pretty sure like didn't even know what mental health was because it's such a taboo topic to talk about, especially like in the Mexican culture. Like mental health kind of doesn't really exist. It's always like, oh, she's just lazy when like you might be suffering through depression or like It's also like really hard bringing it up to your parents because since they never got anybody to talk to them about mental health, like they don't really believe that it's there. Um, so was, I'm an intern at Teen Lifeline, which is a suicide hotline in Arizona. And there I really got to learn a lot about it just because like I didn't really have anybody at home to teach it. Um, but once I learned about it, I would kind of relate, like, because my parents would always be like, "Oh, how did it go at Team Lifeline?" I'd be like, "Okay." So then I would explain to them what I would talk about, and then like what we would say on the calls, just like general mental health like information. And then afterwards, they like slowly started getting it as well. And then once we had like a suicide scare in my family, they were like, they kind of knew what was going on because I was talking to them about it before, like just general like Teen Lifeline stuff. And then they started saying like telling them what I was teaching them to like my other uncles and aunts. So then I saw like that process of like being it like it being taboo and like not talking about it was being broken because we've had this like loved one who had a suicide attempt and they like obviously everybody else was really worried, so like it was something that we had to talk about. Unfortunately it was under those circumstances, but now like it's less of a taboo topic, at least in our family. And then getting those resources that I've learned from Teen Lifeline, as well as just like general like going online and searching it up, has really helped. And then for personally, I like just reading or even taking showers. Taking showers are so therapeutic for me. I'm just like sitting there, like letting the water hit my face. I get time to think. And then just like going outside in the pool, swimming is also really good for me. And then reading. I really like reading.
Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I completely agree with that. I think self-care and self-love are so important, and it's really good to distinguish, both, and how Jenny kind of pointed out. Sometimes, sleep isn't enough, by no means. It's learning other little things that bring you joy, bring you happiness, and that kind of help you de-stress, decompress, and get back to your full potential, and all of those things is like super duper important. So thank you guys so much for, being vulnerable with us, for talking about these experiences. We truly appreciate it. I'm gonna give some quick announcements before we close the space, but as I stated previously, this is Mental Health Awareness Month, so every Thursday of this month, Aliento is going to have a live that kind of tackles a different topic within, what it is to be a Latino, what it means to be first gen, what it means to be undocumented, all of these things that sometimes go unnoticed when it comes to mental health. So um, for all of you watching, this would be a perfect experience for you guys to just continue to learn more about this. And maybe if you relate to some of these topics, learn some things and kind of help yourself out. We are by no means professionals. So take what we say with, a grain of salt, and always do what's best for you and seek help from others. But in order for you guys, to continue to stay updated and know what's going on with Aliento, follow the account. Another huge thing that would be super beneficial is attending our arts and healing workshops. There will be one May 21st in downtown Mesa at 11 a.m. It's a perfect time to do some arts and crafts, chill out, relax a little bit, do something fun, but also, as Jenny mentioned, be surrounded by people that, feel for you, are there for you, support you, and kind of can help you and guide you through some difficult situations. So, take care of yourselves, love yourselves, talk to people, never, ever, ever let yourself go. Things can get hard, but, everybody has some sort of community that can back them up. So just to kind of close the space, we're going to close it the Aliento way as we usually do. And I hope that everybody who's watching also puts it in the chat. But we will be saying something that we're taking from the space and something that we're leaving in the space. So Jenny, if you want to go first.
Okay. Something that I'm taking. Well, actually, I'm gonna do leaving. So I like leave and I like, yeah. So I am leaving stress. I've been a little stressed lately. So I'm leaving stress and I'm taking love. Y'all are amazing. And thank you for being vulnerable, Marianne.
I think I would also leave stress. We're ending school. Actually, tomorrow's my last day of school before I graduate. Really exciting. So then I'll be leaving like a sense of community, especially after today. Like everybody here being vulnerable, and then obviously like people in the chat as well. It's a really great sense of community.
Yes, and I will be leaving some tiredness, some, burnout with the end of the semester. Recently started an internship that I'm super like stoked about, and I'm having the time of my life there. So like living it up in that end. But I will be taking empowerment. We're talking about who we are as Latinas, as women, as first-gen students. All of these obstacles, although they're hard and we struggle, like that just makes us that much stronger. And like we should use these things to empower ourselves to continue to pursue these dreams of ours, to continue to give back to our communities and be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. So thank you guys so much for coming. Thanks to everybody who joined us in this live. Don't forget to follow at Aliento AZ to stay on the loop on these future events that we're going to be holding and other things. Just stay in the know. So yes, thank you everybody for showing up. I appreciate y'all so much, and we will see you another time. Bye everyone.
Bye.